But right now, Thursday Night Football. Dolphins in Buffalo. Tua met with the media yesterday, was very complimentary of Josh Allen, maybe dissed himself. Here are the numbers that somewhat back up what Tua was saying. In their head-to-head meetings, Josh is eight wins, 1 loss. For team points, 33 for Josh, 17 for Tua. Everything's bad, basically, if you're on the podcast. Just imagine a graphic with Tua on one side and a bunch of numbers that are less than Josh. Brew, does this say more about Tua or Josh Allen?
Yeah, I'm going to go first because I'm going to be nice to Tua, which I don't think is going to happen on that side of the table. He's being honest, so it says more about Tua. We know what he said about Josh. Everybody agrees with that. But it says he's honest and naive, which is rare this deep into your career. Usually the media comes at you so hard that you learn, I can't say this, I can't say that. This was naive. For him to say this and really not think anything's going to come of it. So it shows his naivete. But here's my fear.
And that's the nice thing we're
Yeah,
going to say about Tua. Brew's going to be nice about Tua. Go ahead.
Here's my fear. If he is this honest and naive, what's to stop him from going up there and saying, it's cold out there? You know my record in cold weather. I don't win when it's 45 or below.
I think he means in general.
They're a good team.
Yeah.
At least he didn't say that.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're a good team.
Yeah.
You know I only beat tomato cans. So Tua, you gotta learn from this. Sometimes just zip it and don't say what you're actually feeling.
Yeah, I mean, now I feel like I could be as mean as I want.
Yeah,
that was not
nice.
very
Yeah,
kind.
very.
It's a ridiculous thing to say. Tua sounds like he is Josh Allen's backup.
Exactly right.
Well, he would be.
Well, sure, he would be if there. Except Josh Allen makes $55 million this year. Tua makes $53.
That's right.
Like, it's a very silly thing to say. I remember talking to Mark Schlereth about how he once felt when his team was getting ready to play the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s. And he said during warm-ups, he was like looking across the field, and he was just thinking to himself, he's like, we've got no shot today. But he didn't say it.
Right.
Like, imagine if he had said it the Wednesday before they played the Cowboys. It probably would not have played terribly well in the locker room. Like, how does a Dolphins player feel when our quarterback doesn't think that he can measure up to the other team's quarterback and is willing to say it? Like, I understand the athlete criticism of media is you guys kill us for cliches, you want us to be honest, and then you kill us for honesty. Mm-hmm. But come on, man.
But the reality is we don't kill him for cliches. You don't.
We just ignore him.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes.
You get upset
Nobody's ever criticized Patrick Mahomes for
being boring.
Being boring at press conferences.
Dak.
And so, right, there's no penalty to it. We do love honesty because it gives us content, but usually it's got to err on the side of bravado, not err on the side of almost woe is me. But I'm going to spin this a little bit, if I may, Wilds. I don't blame Tua for being Tua. Like, I don't blame Tua for not being mobile. They knew that when they signed him. I don't blame Tua for not having a strong arm. They knew that when they signed him. And I don't blame, I think he's been clumsy at press conferences this year. You guys know I thought that he shouldn't have said publicly what he said about Tyreek, even though Tyreek was the villain in that story. It was an unnecessarily, he unnecessarily added fuel to that story by talking about how Tyreek had to make up to him. I think he's been bad at press conferences. That's not really the problem. The problem is, in my opinion, Wilds, that graphic existed in large part the exact same, just a few less games, when they signed him to this deal. You cannot be an elite quarterback and be consistently so thoroughly outplayed by the guy who is your age in your division. Like the Herbert Mahomes thing, if we had prior to this weekend, last weekend, put up that graphic, the record would have been jarring, but the other numbers are, it's like, okay, Patrick's better, but Herbert played well in those games, and they were close games. We talked about it at the time. Like, the Dolphins are the ones who had all this information about who Tua was as a player, his limitations, his strengths, and said, we're tying all our fortunes to you. And that was honestly the beginning of the end for Mike McDaniel. It was the beginning of the end for this whole kind of Dolphins iteration. And I said it at the time that I have graded Mike McDaniel on a curve of, hey, look at what he's doing with a quarterback that I feel is limited. But once you pay him like he's a star, and now we're hearing even he doesn't think he's a star. Like Tua Tagovailoa clearly doesn't think he's a star. Like, because unless he thinks Josh Allen's the greatest quarterback in the history of the league. Because if that's how he feels about Josh, and we're the same honesty thing, what if he's asked about Lamar or Patrick, or for that matter, your guy, Justin Herbert? Like, all those guys are more mobile than him. All those guys have a stronger arm than him. And so that's the problem.
It's a crisis of confidence in Miami.
I think he does think he's a star, though.
How?
I mean, all he was saying is, I can't throw it as far as him, and I can't run it like him, which are just
I can't
facts.
run it or throw it like him.
Which is just the truth.
No, but I feel like
I mean, I get you don't, like I said, you don't always have to say what's true out there, but I think he demanded a certain amount of money.
No, but let me ask you this. Dak Prescott can't run like Josh Allen and can't throw as far as Josh Allen. Dak Prescott
Dak is better at press conferences. He's only going to say cliches.
I'm not even talking about what he would say. Do you think Dak Prescott deep down thinks the gap between he and Josh Allen's that big? I bet he doesn't. I think
delusional confidence.
Yeah,
of
like that.
athletes.
Yeah, and right, that Dak Prescott, if he doesn't think he's better than Josh, thinks it's close. To me, and I agree with you in theory about complimenting the honesty, but that was a reveal that Tua does not think he's close to Josh Allen. And that's a huge problem. That's the guy you got to beat. Well, but we're allowed to think that, right? Like, we're not him.
We're not that far away from the Dolphins having to stop scoring points against the Broncos to be nice. And that was an era.
Well, it's towards 70, yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, oh my gosh, Mike McDaniel is a genius. Tua has two great weapons on the outside that can burn you down the sideline. They can run the ball. This team is electric. There's been a drainage of confidence from this team that is now exhibiting himself.
Yeah, it's a bad coach. But this is the first, because Tua has won. I know he hadn't beaten good teams.
Yes.
But his record is really strong. It's like
60% of his
And the team fell apart last year without him.
Yes, that's the thing. They win with him, win fairly big, and then lose big without him. So
this 0-2 is hurt more than any other 0-2.
Just very quick.
Yeah.
They feel like the post 70-point Dolphins, or the 70-point Dolphins career now, feel like a boxer that got knocked out once and was never the same.
Roy Jones.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
They feel like once, and I'm not smart enough, on the X's and O's stuff to know what teams did, but once teams cracked their quick motion or whatever it was.
Since they've been figured out.
Right. Since they've been figured out,
they
didn't have another pitch, and they have been rattled in a way.
Some of that's probably, or not probably, because of Tua's limitations.
Yes.
That's the thing.
100%.
All right, so I'm kind of rooting for the Dolphins in that one, to be honest with you. I feel so bad.
That'd be great.
Parkins, first to market with this, just floated it as an idea. Could the Giants beat the Chiefs? Kansas City favored by 6. How much of this 0-2 start is on Patrick Mahomes, Danny?
Not much, I think, honestly. Like, if we looked at it and said, he's done this without Rashee Rice, he's done it without Xavier Worthy, he's done it with a rookie left tackle. I think Mahomes has gotten rid of the ball a little quicker than he needs to, based on what some of the data says, like in terms of like how much time he has to throw. And so maybe he's trying to figure that piece of it out. But he's like, I got to take deep shots to Tyquan Thornton. Like, it's not exactly, that's not what Josh Allen is doing. It's not what Lamar Jackson's doing. It's not what Justin Herbert is working with. And so when I've watched Mahomes this year, he's looked like he's scrambling too much, certainly. But for the most part, he's looked like Mahomes. He's looked like he's been let down by his situation around him and not him. But when you said, like, I was the first one to float it, it's probably just because I've gambled on football for 20 years. But 6-point underdogs win in the NFL all the time. Like, it's definitely on the board that the New York Giants at home, as a 6-point underdog in a night game, beat the Chiefs. And I know you said it was not possible earlier, Brew, but it just objectively is.
Counterpoint, it's objectively not.
This is not a pro-Giants thing. It's just I watch professional football
You're just
thing.
saying that because of the spread? I mean,
Correct.
So if it was minus 11, you would be
there's a
it's
much
not on
better
the board.
chance that the Giants beat the Chiefs than there is that the Dolphins beat the Bills.
Yeah,
a much better chance.
So here's the thing. I understand that's the gambling spread.
It's true.
No, I understand that is correct that is what Vegas thinks. What I am sitting here telling you is, of all the teams playing this weekend, the single team most unlikely to lose is the back against their wall, gotta have it, dynastic Chiefs. I'm not saying it will be pretty. I'm not saying they'll even cover. What I'm saying is that the gap between the Chiefs and blowing out the Giants or whatever, that's a separate thing too. If Patrick plays all 60 minutes, are the Chiefs going to lose that football game? And in my opinion, the answer to that's no, which is why a first cousin of it to answer this question is, how much of the Chiefs 0-2 start is on Mahomes? The least of any player on the team. And now he's the most important player on the team, but he also, in my opinion, of every player on the team, has played the best. Now, he has not played his best. Correct. And so it's kind of, a little trick mirror on what we're asking here. Mm-hmm. But I thought the only reason they were in that week 1 game was because of what he was able to do with his legs. And I thought in week 2, he missed that first pass of the game, and he missed the late pass to Thornton, but then he 90% made up for it by hitting the deep pass to him 2 plays later. I think given what the Chiefs, how the defense played in game 1, what the receivers have done throughout 2 weeks, what the running back position has done, I don't think there's any quarterback in the league you could have put on the Chiefs these 2 weeks, and they're not 0-2. And so, I don't think...
I would not... I agree with you guys that it's not on Mahomes, and he would be the least guy to blame. Like you said, they're only in that game against the Chargers because of his legs. And if Kelsey catches that ball,
they're at
they
least
might
in the
win
moment
that
they're a
game.
fan.
Yeah, they might win that game. So, but Mahomes, as you said, hasn't been at his best. He hasn't been close with his arm. He has missed some throws. There's no question about it.
No question.
And right now, he's not playing, top 10 for sure football right now among other quarterbacks. If they had, as much as I think Mahomes has led them,
you liked, he's 4.
No, he is high in that. I did see that.
Yeah, because that incorporates his running.
Yeah, but and these, you guys know, this whole dynastic run, I don't think it happens with any other quarterback besides Mahomes. And he is the engine. Even when he wasn't playing well last year, he's the engine that makes it go. But I can't say if they had Josh Allen right now or Lamar Jackson, I can't say, or Herbert maybe, that they would be 0-2. I will go that far. And I'm not saying those guys are better than Mahomes. I'm saying they are playing much better than he is right now.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair, right? If we're all agreeing that Mahomes has missed some throws, he's missed more throws than we've seen Herbert miss so far, right?
Maybe. I don't know that I don't.
What's completion
I mean,
percentage?
Herbert's
It's not like his
completion
completion percentage is through the roof. It's
Herbert's 72%, I think.
No, but so there's a difference between, I actually think missed throws is not necessarily how number of incompletions you have.
Right, like Kelsey dropping the ball is not.
I don't remember 1,000 drops in these
No.
games.
I don't think there's 1,000 drops. I think right now offensively, the Chiefs have 2 massive problems. The first of which I don't know how they're going to fix. The second of which will slowly be fixed as Xavier and then Rashid gets back. First one is they cannot run the football, and no team respects them running the football. So they are the weird team that is never facing a heavy.
They weren't great at running last year.
Well, ever since Pacheco broke his leg, they haven't been great at it. But they weren't as bad as they are this year. And the other one is there is no one on the team right now that can get open against man coverage. There is, you know what I mean?
Big problem.
There is nobody on the team that can get open. So when we were talking about missing throws or not, but go ahead.
No, I'm what's challenging is the Chiefs' performance that we try to predict before the game is like we see all these flaws, but Mahomes.
Yeah.
And but Mahomes has been the answer to like we'll pick the Chiefs to win because of Mahomes.
Yes.
And then when it doesn't go that way, when they lose to the Chargers, they lose to the Eagles, we're like, well, here are the actual tactical reasons why they lost. Like, but Mahomes hasn't been enough to get everybody over. And now we're in the Giants and we see all of these pitfalls coming.
But I guess what I'm saying
like,
is,
I think Mahomes again.
Right, but
that's what
I
I'm worried.
think
I'm like,
that if
stepping
they
into a trap.
play as poorly as they played against the Chargers, or as kind of intermittently well and then poorly as they played against the Eagles, they will beat the Giants. What, you know what I mean? I think in order.
You're more confident in that than I am, man.
Well, I mean, guys, we all just sat here and said that they are a drop away from potentially beating a team that everybody thinks could win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so
And they only lost by 6. To
right.
The Chargers.
And so to me, it's unless you're saying Giants actually sneaky good. Giants might end up, we're going to look up and Giants are going to be 5-4. And, if the Chiefs haven't played well and they have played two of the best teams in the league and been right there. So I think that against the Giants, when they need to play better and Xavier, I think is going to play, changes it.
So just real quick, transitive property.
Yeah.
You think the Chiefs could have scored as many points on Dallas as the Giants just did?
What? No,
Because
but I
I
think
do
that
not.
game would have been so different. No. But I also think winning is a skill. And I understand the Chiefs are 0-2, and so like right now they're not exhibiting that skill. And I'm not calling a blowout here, to be very clear. I don't think this is like a Chiefs remind everyone they're the Chiefs this week. I don't think right now they have the horses to blow people out if they're not getting turnovers. The other sneaky thing about Kansas City, there are 3 teams in the league that have not forced a turnover. The Browns, the Jets, and the Chiefs. So like that, there's a lot of things stacking against them. They're not going to fall to 0-3 by losing to the New York Giants and Russell Wilson.
Russ might give you one, but if Brian Daboll has like a Sirianni-esque meeting where it's like, hey, if they don't take one from us and we don't give Mahomes an extra possession, we can walk out of here with a win.
I don't mean to be rude.
No.
I don't think like I don't think there's like a, hey, we're not turning the ball over this week meeting. I think I think every team has that every week, and guys who turn the ball over turn it over. I don't think you extra focus this.
I guarantee you, on Mac Jones's schedule with Kyle Shanahan, he was like, honey,
but that's
I have
every
to stay
week.
late because at
2:15.
4:30, I'm meeting with Kyle that says, don't turn the ball over. The agenda just says,
but
don't
that's
turn
every week. I don't think it's special for who you're playing.
I'm saying play a more conservative brand of football. Certainly, Russ started to feel himself when he threw the ball to the Cowboys. I would have been Daboll.
Yeah, you're in a shootout.
The moon ball's been great.
Oh, he just chucked it.
Can we just hang out in overtime?
Gentlemen, it's that time of week. It's time for packed stats.
Yeah.
Danny Parkins, Willie Colon, and Coach Mangini. I never leave home without my stats. You know that. Come to work with them every day. So here we go. Lights, camera, stats. T-shirt. Thank you. It is a T-shirt.
It's a T-shirt.
Yeah. Merchandising. I like it. The first stat is 0. That is the number of passing touchdowns that Jalen Hurts has through 2 weeks. And you're like, well, why is that noteworthy? Because Jalen Hurts is the first quarterback since Dennis Dixon in 2010 for the Steelers, Willie Colon Steelers, to start 2-0 without throwing for a touchdown. Why people question Jalen Hurts and the Eagles? Because this is simply not sustainable. They didn't do this last year. Jalen Hurts is either throwing within 0 to 10 yards or he's throwing deep. He has 0 pass attempts between 10 and 20 yards through the first 2 games this year. I understand that he does a lot, but 0 passing touchdowns in 2-0, we haven't seen it in 15 years. It's not sustainable, Willie.
Well, let me be very clear. As a former offensive lineman, this is how I like it in the month of September. This is how I like my September. It's all about running the ball, setting the tone, playing mistake-free, coming out the building with a W. And this is what I loved about Jalen Hurts, too, on Sunday versus the Chiefs, because he took the low-risk shots, right? And he hit the intermediate routes with the receiver coming across. And with all that said, man, I also got to give props to Kevin Patullo because he understands this team is coming off a Super Bowl. He didn't interject a heavy pass game. He understands what they do well is running the football. And so you start to see him really kind of adjust to the Eagles and what they do well. And I think it's really helped this offense just evolve slowly and surely. And we got to understand, you know what defense is going to do. They're going to pack the box. They're going to condense it, which allows Hurts to win on the outside with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
He hasn't been winning with A.J. Brown.
Right.
He's got 6 catches for 35 yards.
But then right now, we're going to see, I trust me, in a couple weeks, we're going to start seeing the Eagles fly. Okay. Watch.
I think this is not only sustainable, it's recommended. It's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
And because it's the formula that works for them. Run the ball, play good defense. Jalen Hurts can hurt you with his feet. Now where it's going to become unsustainable is when A.J. Brown goes and gets his book again, and he's on the sideline and he's reading it. And I know that somehow that story got turned into a positive, that he was actually taking motivation from it. But we all know what it was. It was him expressing in a very public way his displeasure with the lack of touches he was getting and the lack of production he was getting. And that dynamic is going to have to continue to be monitored, and it's going to have to be massaged some, because they're going to get frustrated. With
you didn't buy that he was just, in a book club?
No, I didn't buy it.
Well, he's admitted that the book's never coming out again. He understood, to Coach's point, he was being a little bit of a diva. It won't happen again. So I trust him in that regard.
Little note on this, little postscript. Dennis Dixon didn't even finish that second game. So this is truly very rare to go 2-0 without a passing touchdown to start a season. All right, give me my lights. A lot of power comes within you can call for your lights. Second stat, don't leave home without. The stat is 11. As in 11 teams have started 3-0 with 3 wins within the division, which is what the Chargers have an opportunity to do, as they are favored against the Denver Broncos. They would have beaten the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Broncos. What's interesting about those 11 teams, they all did not go on to win their division, but 5 of the 11 went on to at least appear in the Super Bowl. And you average about 12 wins per year. So this is a tremendous opportunity in front of the Chargers here. The idea of you beat the Chiefs, you beat the Raiders, you beat the Broncos. No matter what the Chiefs do, Coach, on Sunday night, if earlier in the day the Chargers beat the Broncos, the Chargers would have, at minimum, a 3-game lead on the Chiefs in the division when you factor in the tiebreakers.
It's a pretty amazing spot to be in that early in the season. And I know we can't look back historically and say just because that happened in the past, it's going to happen again this season. But you gotta like what it says. Half of those teams, or almost half of those teams, go to the Super Bowl. That's impressive. 12 wins. It's I really liked what Jim's done in terms of erasing the history of the Chargers in the sense of the negative history of the Chargers. And he's so good at that. It doesn't matter what happened before. It doesn't matter who the bully of the division has been. They're going to reset it the way they want to reset it. And you're seeing that unfold, or we're seeing it unfold a little bit here at the start of this season.
Yeah, I want you, Coach. I just appreciate them kind of establishing their identity early in the season, right? And you got to credit Jim Harbaugh for allowing his team to play fast and free. But I think if you really take a hard look on them, like situationally, they went on third down. They're efficient in the red zone. And overall, man, they flat out get it done with Justin Herbert with his arm or his legs. And I think right now, if you're in the West, if you're winning in a division, you don't chase standings, right? You control them. And that's what they're doing. So if they win Sunday against the Broncos, there's a new sheriff in town, and that's the Chargers.
Well, they're already in Vegas. They're already the favorite to win the division. And it's just, obviously, these numbers are going to start to change a little bit as we continue to expand the schedule, 14-game schedule to 16, and now we're at 17, so there's obviously more time to catch up. But a 3 or potentially 4-game lead with the tiebreaker after 3 weeks is crazy.
What I'm really interested to see, Danny, is whether or not Herbert can get to that 38 to 40 touchdown range that you saw early in his career. Now, that came with 15 picks.
Yeah,
if we
31
can get,
as a rookie.
if we can get that, and I think it was, it's 38 the next year.
Yep.
But if he can get somewhere closer to that level and keep the interceptions down, I mean, that's
your MVP pick.
It is my new MVP pick now that Burrow's
Big Herbert guy.
Yeah, but I'm the original guy. I feel like you're trying to cover my corners a little bit, Coach. All right, last one. Never leave home without my stats and the lights. This is a bigger number, folks. 123. as in 123 rushing yards for Patrick Mahomes. Too many. Next Gen Stats tracks this on scrambles. So there's the QB sneak, the designed quarterback run, and then there's the scramble where the play call is a pass and then you run out of necessity. All 123 of Mahomes' rushing yards this year are on scrambles. It is the most by any quarterback through 2 weeks since at least 2016, because that is as far back as the data goes. The Chiefs have been very public with, we only want Patrick Mahomes to run when it's the playoffs. Yeah. Like, they do not do a tush push. They do not sneak him on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. Remember, because he hurt his knee a couple of years ago. So the fact that they are 0-2 and he is now a historic scrambler through 2 weeks, talk about unsustainable and an injury risk, Willie. This is the thing that the Chiefs probably need to fix more than anything else.
Well, Patrick Mahomes rushing isn't the problem. It's a symptom, right? They don't have a run game. And they and they can't get receivers to really call separation at the line of scrimmage. So now you find them really scrambling and trying to make a way, and it really showed during this team. And I'm with you. You don't want to see him scurry up the sideline and get hit. And sometimes he turns to truck stick patty, and you worry about it because that's their golden goose. So I agree with you on that part. But overall, I sat here at this desk with you two gentlemen, and I said we're witnessing an end to an era. The kingdom is coming to a close. It's all over. The chemistry between him and Travis Kelce is dying before our eyes. Patrick Mahomes is the last living hero on this Kansas City Chiefs team. And you guys continue to believe in a guy. I don't reason I blame you because you put him up on that silly ranking yesterday, and I didn't sleep last night thinking, how? Danny Parkins, the most credible man in all of Fox Sports 1, put an 0-2 team on a list when they clearly show you they are deficient on both sides of the ball.
Okay, Coach, if I may, let's just live in this hypothetical world where this year the Chiefs do not make the playoffs.
Okay.
Today is Patrick Mahomes' 30th birthday. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't think that next year they'll be one of the favorites? Like, the idea that, like, if they do have a down year or miss the playoffs, that the dynasty is over, that strikes me as ridiculous. Like, they are going to be a contender as long as number 15 is in Kansas City.
You're witnessing an aging Travis Kelce.
Yeah, Travis Kelce's piece of it might be over,
You're watching an offensive
Mahomes.
line that's dealing with chemistry issues right now because of the loss of Joe Tooney. You're talking about receiving core right now with Rashid Rice being out and all these other pieces really trying to find what they can do well in this system. We're watching this team deteriorate right before our eyes, and you're sitting here like, well, one down year, he'll catch it to Brady. That's not happened.
Coach.
Patrick Mahomes is a Hall of Fame quarterback, and that's how we're going to perceive him from this on. He won't be a multi Super Bowl quarterback.
Really, I'm going to have to.
He already has 3, so
I was just saying. It's not going to get to a handful.
You got to get to 5.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. I think it's as long as he's there, and especially as long as Andy Reid's there, and you add Spagnuolo, there's organizationally as well, they're very well run. There may be a piece or two that they could add to be a lot more explosive. But if they hit on 1 or 2 major draft picks, which can happen in any given season, I mean, they're right back in the mix of a lot of things. And we're writing their obituary, but last game, Travis Kelce bumbled a pass that gets picked off. It's a 10-point swing. They miss uncharacteristically a field goal. They get stopped on 4th. There were a lot of things that could have changed that game.
Yeah, like
easily.
Patrick Mahomes hitting Thornton wide open down the middle of the field. You see him time after time try to make these big explosive throws and have these missed throws. So my point is, we're watching a digression.
No, we see that every now and then, but we've seen him 1,000 times hit.
Yeah, but we
throws.
saw it the last 2 weeks when they need him most, and right now this team is 0-2.
I don't think 0-2 is needed the most.
Yeah, we'll see. I do not expect him to be their leading rusher this week, though. Like,
that's bad news.
Don't be surprised if he is.
I know he's doing it out of necessity, and it's a must-win game, but man, they are going to do everything possible to not make Patrick Mahomes lead them in rushing.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.